Well, folks, last week we left you with the, I guess, shocking news that a CPU employee has been accused of stealing money from the Clarksdale High School, as well as breaking policy, violating policy at CPU, and letting certain of her friends and colleagues and cohorts in the community roll over their CPU payments for electric bills and water bills for months and months and months. Some of those folks are prominent members in the community. There's a prominent lawyer involved, and Buster Moton, the city commissioner. In Wednesday's paper, we kind of take a step back and see what's next. Of course, as some of you know, Bill Luckett, the mayor of Clarksdale, has called for a special meeting this Friday to see if the city board can't vote to remove the CPU commissioners who have so far refused to dismiss Miss Maple Melton. Not only have they refused to dismiss her, they have given her a job back. She was dismissed, as a point of fact, in December by General Manager Ray Luring, but the board voted to give this lady her job back despite the rather serious allegations. We, at the Press Register, I talked to some of the CPU board members to see whether or not they were, I guess, fearful for their positions on the board, or circumspect or regretful of their decisions to keep Miss Melton in the employ of CPU. And the three commissioners, of the three commissioners who are at risk of being removed from the board, I was able to speak to two, and neither one of them were at all repentant. In fact, both of them seemed to indicate that they had lawyered up and they were awaiting the mayor's and the city board's decision. Unfortunately, I think for a lot of our readers, and I know for us, the paper, this is becoming a race issue, needlessly, I should say. I realize that's editorializing, but you know, the allegations seem to be rather plain and rather uncontroversial, but the CPU commissioners I talked to, both the African-American ones anyway, both, well, one of them said flat out that, you know, they're going to let the white people do what they want to do. And then I talked to Buster Moton, who is on the city board, and again, who has been accused of, I guess, benefiting from the abuse of CPU policy. And he said something to the same effect, that he was going to just let the white people on the board do what they wanted to do, and then he'd go from there. Commissioner Moton is usually not a taciturn fellow. He's usually quite outspoken in the face of what he perceives as, you know, rights or wrongs or what have you. He's usually, you know, happy to speak, but he seemed rather taciturn this time, quite uncharacteristic. And I think that is an indication that some of the CPU board are, you know, considering legal options. You know, they said as much, and considering that their talking points match up with Commissioner Moton's talking points, I think it's a safe assumption to say that, you know, there have definitely been some discussions behind the scenes, you know, between these parties, you know, certain of the city commissioners and certain of the CPU commissioners. I spoke with CPU Commissioner George Miller. George Miller is the chairman of the CPU board, and you know, he's a white fellow, and he is in favor of firing Maple Melton. But, you know, as I'm sure most of you know, Commissioner Miller and Commissioner Bobby Huggins were outvoted 3-2 to keep her on. Now, Commissioner Miller, you know, he was quite blunt with me, and he definitely favors Mayor Luckett's call to remove the three commissioners who voted to keep Miss Melton. But as I say, I don't think that'll be the end of the story. You know, obviously the city board, the ones who appointed the CPU board, have all the legal authority and all the, you know, right to, you know, pick who they want on the CPU board and get rid of them, so far as I understand it. But, you know, from speaking to some of the CPU board members, I think they're going to try to fight this in court. I'm not sure how far that's going to go, but it looks like it could be a knockdown, drag-out brawl, and I guarantee you, Friday will be a big meeting at the City Hall, but that will not be the end of things, for better or for worse.